Do you truly believe that America, China, and Russia are antagonists in a grand struggle for Africa? Do you accept the tidy narrative fed to you on screens and in headlines, a new great game played with drones, diplomacy, and dollars? This is the story they want you to believe. It's clean, it's simple, and it is a masterfully constructed lie. The official script is compelling, a geopolitical drama for the 21st century. On one side, you have China, the prolific builder, paving the continent with its Belt and Road Initiative. They offer gleaming ports, sleek railways, and modern stadiums. The price, we are told, is the soul of the nation, ensnared in a sophisticated web of debt-trap diplomacy. When a country inevitably defaults, its most strategic assets are quietly signed away. Then, there is Russia, the specter in the shadows. They don't offer loans, they offer security, delivered by the pragmatic and brutal hands of mercenaries. Groups like Wagner arrive not just to prop up friendly regimes, but to create a state of controlled chaos. Where they go, stability for the powerful follows, along with the deeds to gold mines and diamond fields. They are the enforcers, the muscle. And finally, there is America and the West, draped in the righteous banners of democracy, sustainable development, and human rights. They arrive with aid packages, NGO-led initiatives, and stern lectures on governance. They are presented as the moral counterweight, the only force standing between a free Africa and its authoritarian suitors. A competition, a three-way chess match where African nations are the pawns, forced to choose a side. This is the illusion. It's designed to distract you, to make you choose a team in a game where the outcome has already been decided. Because the players you see on the board, Washington, Beijing, Moscow, are not kings and queens. They are rooks and knights, moved by an unseen hand. To understand what is truly happening, you must discard the language of geopolitics and embrace the language of a corporate takeover. This is not a competition. It is a coordinated harvest. America, China, and Russia are not rivals. They are specialized divisions of the same global enterprise, different arms of the same financial octopus, each with a specific role in subjugating a continent. One arm grips with debt, another grips with guns, and the third, perhaps the most insidious, grips with finely worded lies about progress and freedom. All serve a single, unified purpose: to strip Africa of its sovereignty, to siphon its unparalleled resources, and to transform it into a permanent raw material colony for a global elite that has no flag and no allegiance beyond profit. Look behind the politicians and the generals. Who truly benefits, regardless of which flag flies over a new mine or port? You will find the real power, the entities I call the financiers. These are not nations, they are stateless behemoths of capital like BlackRock, Vanguard, the IMF, and the World Bank. They are loyal to no country, only to their shareholders and their bottom line. It is their money that underwrites the loans for China's Belt and Road. It is their investment funds that own major stakes in the Western mining corporations that operate alongside Russian mercenaries. And it is their financial architecture that ensnares nations in cycles of debt, managed through the very development aid offered by the West. They finance the fire and sell the fire extinguishers. They win no matter who wins. Their partners on the ground are the extractor complex. Glencore, Rio Tinto, Chinese state-owned giants like CMOC Group. Their god is not ideological, it is the periodic table. They crave the cobalt and lithium that power your electric car, the uranium for the nuclear plants of the green future, and the coltan inside the phone you are likely holding. They will work with a military junta in the morning and a democratically elected government in the afternoon, so long as the conveyor belts of resources keep moving. And how is this grand larceny legitimized? Through the work of the policy architects. Institutions like the World Economic Forum and the Council on Foreign Relations are the public relations wing of the operation. They create the vocabulary of submission. They invent beautiful, hollow concepts like Sustainable Development Goals, ESG, and public-private partnerships. These are not roadmaps to a better world. They are marketing slogans for a new, more palatable form of colonialism, one that allows them to seize a nation's wealth while claiming to be its savior. You must learn to see the pattern. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, home to over 70% of the world's cobalt, you will find Chinese companies managing the mines, extracting the ore under brutal conditions. But if you follow the money, you will find that a significant shareholder in the Chinese parent company is an American asset management firm. They are not fighting each other. They are partners in the same lucrative venture. One handles the dirty work on the ground. The other launders the profits in the clean rooms of Wall Street. When a coup erupts in Niger, a nation possessing some of the world's highest-grade uranium ore, do you think it is a coincidence that French influence is immediately expelled and Russian security contractors are invited in? It is not a random geopolitical shift. It is a hostile takeover, a change in management to ensure the resource flow is uninterrupted, merely rerouted to new beneficiaries within the same global consortium. They are not fighting over Africa. They are carving it up. China takes the infrastructure and strategic ports through debt. Russia secures the resource-rich, unstable regions through force, creating a pretext for intervention. And America provides the moral and financial cover, using the threat of sanctions and the promise of aid to keep national leaders in line, ensuring they sign the contracts that benefit Western corporations. Debt, guns, and lies. A three-pronged strategy for a single, unified goal: the complete and total acquisition of a continent. A silent, coordinated conquest happening in plain sight. To understand the harvest of Africa, you must abandon the chessboard and enter the abattoir. The story they sell you, a grand competition between great powers, is a misdirection. It is designed to make you watch the players, to pick a side, to become emotionally invested in a rigged game. The truth is far more clinical, far more efficient. This is not a chaotic rivalry. It is a meticulously coordinated division of labor. Let us begin with the first arm of the beast, China's debt colony gambit. They do not arrive with gunships and flags, for that is a crude, outdated form of conquest. They arrive with blueprints and cranes. The official narrative calls it development. The policy architects at the World Economic Forum praise it as a public-private partnership. But you must learn to read the language of power. This is not aid, it is modern-day collateralization. They are not building a road for an African nation. They are building a direct conveyor belt from that nation's mines to their factories, and they are making the nation pay for it. Imagine a satellite image of the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, a cautionary tale for the world, now under a 99-year lease to a Chinese state-owned company. A sovereign port, a nation's strategic gateway, reduced to a line item on a balance sheet. Now pan the camera to Kenya, and examine the leaked contracts for their new railway. See how they quietly signed away the sovereignty of their national assets as collateral for the loan. Look at Zambia, a nation rich in copper, now so entwined in Chinese debt that its very economic independence is a subject of negotiation in rooms where no Zambian sits. The Chinese boa constrictor does not need venom. It simply wraps its victim in the gleaming, concrete coils of infrastructure and squeezes. It waits patiently for the inevitable default. And when it comes, the transfer of ownership is not an act of war. It is the quiet, legal execution of a contract. While one arm squeezes, another tears. This is the role of Russia and its chaos for profit model. Where the Chinese strategy is one of slow, suffocating embrace, the Russian method is one of surgical, profitable violence. Do not mistake mercenaries for an army. An army serves a flag. Mercenaries from groups like Wagner serve an invoice. They are not security providers, they are extractive agents who use violence as their primary business tool. Watch the footage from the Central African Republic. See them guarding not a presidential palace, but the entrance to a diamond mine. Trace the flight logs of unmarked cargo planes leaving Sudan, heavy with gold, bound for Moscow. This is not geopolitics, it is armed robbery on a national scale. The model is brutally simple. Identify a fragile state rich in resources. Fuel the instability or leverage a pre-existing conflict. Insert security contractors as the solution to the chaos they helped create. The payment is not in cash, but in mining concessions. Blood for gold, bullets for diamonds. The recent coup in Niger is their masterpiece. For decades, France drew its uranium, the lifeblood of its nuclear fleet, from Niger's soil. But the management was becoming unruly. A problem, then, a coup, a public reaction of uncertainty and fear. Then, the solution conveniently arrives. French influence is expelled, and Russian contractors are welcomed. Do you believe this is a coincidence? It is a corporate takeover executed with military precision. The resource flow was never interrupted, it was merely rerouted to new shareholders within the same global complex. The hyenas have chased the old lion away from the carcass. Then there is the third arm, the most insidious of all, the American puppet democracy ploy. This arm does not wield concrete or Kalashnikovs. It wields the far more potent weapons of language and legitimacy. It offers cooperation, development grants, and lectures on good governance and human rights. These are not ideals, they are instruments of control. Lay a map of USAID and National Endowment for Democracy projects over a geological map of Africa's mineral wealth. You will see an overlap so perfect it cannot be accidental. It is a business plan. They do not seek to build genuine democracies, they seek to install compliant administrators. A democratic leader is one who will sign away drilling rights to an American energy giant for a fraction of their value. A corrupt dictator is one who threatens to nationalize those same resources for the benefit of his own people. Notice how quickly a leader's human rights record becomes an international crisis the moment he cancels a contract with a Western mining corporation. Sanctions are not a moral tool, they are a disciplinary measure for disobedient local managers. The American vulture does not need to kill. It patiently circles overhead, cloaked in the language of morality, waiting for the python to squeeze or the hyenas to finish their bloody work. Then it descends, offering reconstruction aid, stability loans from the IMF, and technical expertise, all of which serve to lock the weakened nation into the Western financial system, ensuring that whatever wealth remains is funneled through Wall Street. Do you see the perfect synergy now? It is a flawless, three-stage process. The Chinese arm indebts the target, making it vulnerable. The Russian arm brutalizes it, securing direct access to high-value assets and eliminating inconvenient political actors. The American arm legitimizes the new order, absorbing the nation into its sphere of financial control and ideological submission. Debt, guns, and lies. A complete toolkit for colonial subjugation in the 21st century. They are not fighting each other over Africa. They are testing a model of planetary governance on it. The debt that cripples you, the social chaos that distracts you, the hollow political slogans that placate you. They are all part of the same playbook, refined to perfection on the plains and in the cities of a continent being harvested in plain sight. We have now seen how the three field divisions operate. We have seen the python, the hyenas, and the vulture, each playing its part. But if they are just the arms of the operation, the soldiers on the ground, then one question remains, the most important question of all. Who is the mind? Who is the ultimate beneficiary of this symphony of destruction? In the next chapter, we will pull back the final curtain. We will look past the flags of nations and into the cold, calculating eyes of the true architects of this new world order. You have seen the field operatives. The Chinese python that squeezes with debt, the Russian hyenas that tear with calculated chaos, and the American vulture that circles with the empty promise of salvation. You have seen how they work in perfect, brutal synergy. But these nations, for all their power, are merely the instruments. They are the visible teeth in a vast, unseen engine of extraction. The question we left hanging in the air was the most critical of all. Who is the mind behind this operation? Who is the composer of this grotesque symphony? To find the answer, you must stop looking at maps of nations and start looking at financial flowcharts. You must ignore the flags and follow the money. Because the true rulers of this game have no flag. Their only allegiance is to profit, and their kingdom is a global balance sheet. Pull back the curtain. The first figures you will see are not politicians, but financiers. These are the modern-day gods, dwelling in the glass and steel pantheons of Wall Street and the City of London. Names you hear but do not understand: BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. They are the so-called passive investors, who are anything but passive. They are the largest shareholders not just in Western corporations, but in the world. When a Chinese state-owned enterprise builds a port in Africa using a loan from a Chinese state-owned bank, do you know who owns significant stakes in that bank? The same American asset managers. When a Russian-backed mining company extracts diamonds from the Central African Republic, do you know whose investment funds hold shares in that company's parent conglomerate? The same financiers. They are the house. They are not betting on America, China, or Russia to win. They have bet on all three because they know the game is rigged. The conflict is the business model. Every loan, every contract, every bullet fired ultimately adds another zero to a ledger they control. They are the ultimate beneficiaries of a system they designed, a system where geopolitical rivalry is merely the theater that distracts you from the transactional reality. Standing beside the financiers, you will find the muscle of the operation, the extractor complex. These are the multinational Goliaths: Glencore, Rio Tinto, the China Molybdenum Company. Their religion is geology, their holy texts are mineral surveys. They care nothing for democracy or authoritarianism. Those are just business environments to be navigated. Their sole purpose is to get the cobalt, the lithium, the uranium, and the coltan out of the ground as cheaply as possible. They are the direct clients of the three-armed beast. They whisper in the ears of the policy architects to create favorable trade agreements. They cheer when China builds a new railway because it is a conveyor belt for their product. They sign security contracts with groups like Wagner to protect their mines in unstable regions. They lobby Washington to sanction a leader who dares to suggest nationalizing a resource, all under the guise of human rights violations. They are the bridge between the sterile world of high finance and the bloody mud of the open pit mine. They turn the financiers' capital into physical, tangible resources, the very building blocks of the fourth industrial revolution they promise us. But how do they sell this naked plunder to the world? How do they make neocolonialism sound like philanthropy? For that, they require the third and most insidious group, the policy architects. These are the high priests of the New World Order, operating from a different set of temples. The World Economic Forum in Davos, the Council on Foreign Relations, the various foundations and think tanks. They do not wield capital or guns. They wield language. They are the creators of the narrative. They invent the soothing, benevolent terms designed to mask the brutal mechanics of the system. Terms like sustainable development, public-private partnerships, stakeholder capitalism, and ESG. Do you understand the genius of this? They have turned the very language of social and environmental justice into a tool of corporate conquest. An African nation is told it needs to meet ESG goals. What does that mean in practice? It means it must accept green energy projects funded by Western capital, using technologies patented by Western corporations, on land acquired in deals brokered by the financiers. It must adopt policies written in Geneva and Washington, not in its own capital. They have created a moral framework where surrendering sovereignty is presented as responsible global citizenship. They have made the shackles look like a gift. Now see the full machine in all its horrifying elegance. The financiers provide the capital and own the entire system, profiting from every transaction. The extractor complex executes the physical plunder on the ground, securing the raw materials. And the policy architects provide the ideological cover, the moral justification that allows the public to watch a continent being stripped bare and call it progress. America, Russia, and China are not adversaries in this model. They are specialized divisions of a single global enterprise, each with a defined role. One indebts, one pacifies, one legitimizes. All serve the same masters. Do not make the mistake of thinking this is only about Africa. Africa is the laboratory. It is the proving ground for a model of governance intended for global application. The tools being perfected there are coming for you. The manufactured dependencies, the engineered crises, the weaponized narratives, they are all part of the same playbook. What do you think central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are? They are not an evolution of money. They are the final plank in the infrastructure of total control. A world where every single transaction you make is recorded, scrutinized, and subject to approval. A world where your bank account can be frozen if you express a dissenting opinion, where your ability to buy fuel can be restricted because you have exceeded your carbon allowance. This is not a conspiracy theory, it is the openly stated goal of the very policy architects we have just discussed. They call it programming money for the greater good. They are building a digital panopticon, and the harvest of Africa's resources is providing the raw materials to construct it. This is the endgame, a neo-feudalistic world run by an unelected global oligarchy, where national sovereignty is a relic of the past and individual freedom is a privilege, not a right. This is the truth they do not want you to see. They want you distracted by political theater, divided by culture wars, and sedated by entertainment. But the clock is ticking. You can no longer afford to be a spectator. You must become an analyst. You must question every headline, every official statement. You must ask, again and again, cui bono? Who benefits? Share this knowledge. Your silence is their consent. The real battle of our time is not between East and West, or left and right. It is the eternal struggle between a humanity that yearns to be free and a parasitic elite that seeks to control it. The time to choose your side is now. And if you think their justification for all this, the sacred, green agenda, is about saving the planet, you have not been paying attention. In the next chapter, we will dismantle the biggest lie of all. We will expose how the climate crisis has become the perfect pretext for the greatest consolidation of wealth and power in human history. They are not trying to save the world. They are in the process of buying it.